Nashville. From the heart of the Mid-South, this is Newswatch 2, acclaimed by the Associated Press as Tennessee's outstanding newscast.
Good evening, I'm Tom Smith. No late word tonight on the outcome of an important confrontation between the Cheatham County Board of Education and the teachers there. The teachers are seeking a pay raise. About 100 of Cheatham County's 233 teachers, mostly those with tenure, plus some parents and school children, gathered at the Ashland City Elementary School tonight around 7 o'clock to rally their forces for a picket of the school board. A spokesman for the school board says it would be unwise for the board to spend its last penny, so to speak, meaning the $42,000 on teachers' pay raises.
James Earl Ray made his fourth unsuccessful attempt to escape from Brushy Mountain State Prison. Ray came within 100 feet of freedom. Newswatch 2's Bob Donnelly reports on how Ray almost made it.
The latest attempt occurred at 2:05 this morning. Ray and cellmate Donald Wolverton cut through the bars in front of the air vent in the cell. They used a hacksaw, which had been broken into 3 sections, and prison officials alike, that one day soon James Earl Ray will make jailbreak attempt number 5. I'm Bob Donnelly, Newswatch 2.
District Attorney General Tom Schreiber says the state should make amendments to the 1974 obscenity law rather than draft new legislation. Schreiber testified before a special legislative committee studying the state's obscenity laws. He says the 74 statute is constitutionally sound, even though it may not be the most effective law against pornography. Schreiber suggested some changes that would strengthen the laws.
Present law, it's necessary to notify anybody that you expect to arrest.
Schreiber also says Tennessee needs a corporate disclosure law so authorities will know who actually owns businesses here in the state.
The Tennessee Valley Authority is reportedly leaning toward northern Alabama as a location for the nation's first commercial-sized coal gasification plant. TVA Chairman David Freeman said there are a lot of industries in northern Alabama that could use the gas. The site under construction is near Guntersville, Alabama. Final arguments are expected tomorrow in the trial of criminal court clerk Earl Hawkins and 3 co-defendants. Newswatch 2's Jim Travis reports that patience is wearing thin as the trial continues.
Late this afternoon, Judge O'Clair Morton dismissed one of 8 bribery counts against former Deputy Clerk Dewey Durham. The other 7, I guarantee you one thing, I'm going to try to pass it off onto another judge. Jim Travis, Newswatch 2.
Hospital Corporation of America, based here in Nashville, announced today that it had reached an agreement to acquire General Care Corporation and its 8-unit chain of hospitals. The transaction is valued at more than $77 million. The agreement between the 2 companies was reached late last night. Democrat John Y. Brown and Republican Louis Nunn did some final campaigning before tomorrow's gubernatorial election in Kentucky. Brown met with campaign workers in Louisville today, while Nunn toured the state by airplane. We will have coverage of the Kentucky election tomorrow night here on Newswatch 2. Coming up on Newswatch 2, we'll have a story on the Nuclear Regulatory Commission decision that will affect Tennessee.
And between 60 and 90 Americans are still being held hostage in Iran. Iranian student protesters continue to hold 60 Americans hostage at the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, while the U.S. holds fast to its refusal to extradite the Shah of Iran. Bob Wright has more in this report.
About 500 Iranian youths continue to occupy the embassy compound.
Meanwhile, in New York tonight, doctors say the Shah's cancer condition has worsened since his recent surgery, but treatment may have to be deferred until it's determined if another operation is needed to remove a stone in his bile duct.
Secretary of State Cyrus Vance says it is time for action. Today, he reaffirmed a pledge of $69 million in American aid for Cambodia. Addressing a special United Nations conference to raise relief funds, Vance said the 5 million Cambodians ravaged by war, famine, and disease present a grim reality that transcends any political considerations. UN Secretary General Kurt Waldheim hopes to raise $310 million for the immediate relief program. A Nuclear Regulatory Commission decision to postpone licensing of new atomic power plants will mean delayed operation of TVA's giant Sequoia plant near Chattanooga. Vic Radner reports.
From Congress, the commission had been edging toward a moratorium for months. Vic Ratner, ABC News at the Capitol.
A new survey released tonight says the cost of 4 things consumers need most: food, energy, housing, and medical care have been rising at an annual rate of more than 17.5% in the third quarter. Now, that's twice as fast as the price of other goods are rising. And if the pace continues, what cost us $100 in July will cost us $117.60 next July. Military comrades and political colleagues joined family and friends at the Fort Myer Chapel across the Potomac River from Washington this morning for a memorial service for Mamie Eisenhower. Her family and friends came to remember the former First Lady and a life that touched on much of what happened in this country in the past 4 decades. Among those attending were grandson David, along with his wife, Julie Nixon Eisenhower, First Lady Rosalind Carter, and former President Richard Nixon.
Cartoonist Al Capp, whose comic strip series about Dog Patch USA made high-class celebrities out of hillbillies Daisy Mae and Little Abner, died this evening following a lengthy illness. Capp was 70. Under previous popes, members of the Vatican Curia had great influence in formulating important policies for the Roman Catholic Church, but apparently Pope John Paul II prefers to have the cardinals as his chief advisors, which explains the reasons for the Church's conclave, which opened at the Vatican today. A detailed agenda includes the delicate issue of Vatican finances, the possibility of democratization of the Church, and a story of the Church's role in the modern world. Remember, the independent truck drivers went on strike here in Tennessee this summer. They said the reason was due to government red tape, that they weren't making enough money. Well, TV2's Dan White has been at large, riding with a truck driver all the way to the West Coast to find out what it's really like. This is a segment we call White at Large.
The movie industry has romanticized and fantasized about the life in the Lone Star State of Texas. I'm Dan White, Newswatch 2.
Do you guys believe we actually pay Dan to take a trip to Las Vegas and Los Angeles and things like this?
It's tough duty. It really is. You know, if you were trucking up in Nebraska tonight, you would have a new hazard, a foot of snow on the ground, which...
Okay, thank you, Bob. Company reports released tonight show that car sales by American car dealers dropped 20% in late October from levels a year ago. The troubled Chrysler Corporation took a nosedive of 56% at the end of the month. Chrysler announces a second sales promotion today, offering rebates of $300 on 1979 and 1980 models.
In national news briefs tonight, President Carter today signed a bill that authorizes him to draft a standby rationing plan for gasoline and diesel fuel. At the signing ceremonies, Carter said the plan is essential because the United States faces a continual possibility of an emergency fuel shortage. The rationing plan would go into effect only if nationwide supplies fell 20% below demand for at least 30 days. Meanwhile, off Galveston, Texas, 3 more explosions rocked a tanker early today as firefighters tried to extinguish the blaze that has been raging since the ship collided with a freighter last Thursday. Another body was pulled from the Gulf, raising the death toll till 11, with 21 others still missing and feared dead.
In California, there is a beer drinker to top all beer drinkers, and he sings and plays the piano, too. Sunday Smith reports.
I have a question for you. How fast can a man drink beer if a man drinks beer night after night, year after year? Faster than you can think, this man can drink.
His real name is Bill Foster, but folks, now the question becomes just where goes the beer? Does it go up or does it go down? One thing we all know is that what goes up must come down. Well, I give up, but the fox goes on.
You've made a career of this. Do you see it as something you just do forever? Always be the fastest beer chugger in the world?
Yeah. This is Sunday Smith.
That's some career.
What were you saying about his waistline?
I just never saw it.
I bet it's out to here, right?
Probably is. Well, that's a look at News Watch tonight. For Tom Seiler and Bob Bell, I'm Ann Holt.
I'm Tom Smith. Thank you and good night.